and a very warm welcome to Melissa's People. It's a show about the people, places and happenings at the heart of our community. Here at Wide Bay ITV, we want to celebrate everything that makes this region great, as well as keeping you informed and shining a light on the issues that affect you. Each week we'll be bringing you stories from across our region, and you can look forward to local content, a fresh take on hot topics, a few laughs and a healthy dose of good news to brighten your day. Today we'll look at how socially conscious enterprises are changing the face of business and work, get you up to speed with boating safety, and find out why the pickleball phenomenon is taking the world by storm. But first, few would argue the past couple of years have been tough. And while the so-called resilience of regional and rural communities has long been considered a hallmark of the Aussie spirit, a relentless wave of stresses from COVID and floods to the housing crisis and mounting living costs has taken a heavy toll on our ability to bounce back. Sadly, for many people, the coping strategies they choose can actually leave them feeling worse, turning to alcohol and other drugs or disconnecting from friends and family. So where should you start if you want to put healthy habits in place to build resilience and give yourself a better chance of coping? Today I'm joined by Sharon Serra, CEO of Bridges Health and Community Care, to share simple steps you can take to navigate these tough times. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It seems like it's been this perfect storm of significant stresses that just keep piling on one after the other for people, doesn't it? What effect does that have?
Prolonged stress, cumulative stress, we know leads to more mental health issues or mental health issues that are harder to treat. Mm-hmm. and that goes for anybody. You know, we've done stress research for years, and it's usually a cumulative effect that ends up in, you know, something like a diagnosed illness like depression or anxiety, and that's certainly what's been happening in our communities, whether it's been COVID, and then, you know, floods, and we've had so many major weather events. Mm-hmm. And then just life, you know, the whether it's housing, the usual things,
yeah.
you know,
work, relationships, all of those things.
You have all those things on top of all these other sort of, you know, things that have not happened in 100 years type stuff. So I was walking the dog this morning, yeah. as I do every morning.
That's good for your mental health, definitely.
Every morning, and sort of unpacking what it is that I do and what other people do. Mm-hmm. And there's a few things around at the moment. One of them is called personal medicine. Mm-hmm. And personal medicine is about the things that you already do, you're active in doing, and they're the things that keep you well.
Okay.
So whether it's somebody that has a serious mental illness or somebody that's, you know, a first-time depression or just anybody, what do you do that already keeps you well? And it's been really, really active as well in doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And the medicine side of things, that's your medicine. It's not something you take, it's something that you do. Mm-hmm. So it's about unpacking that and looking at deeper into what it does for you.
Right.
So have you got, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, walking the dog, going to the gym, all of those. I tried the mindfulness colouring, but yeah. I couldn't stay in the lines.
Well, I've got a really, really busy mind, and I'm terrible at doing mindfulness. So I do something else that forces me to concentrate. Uh-huh. So when you think about people who do hobbies, you're concentrating on something. Mm-hmm. You're getting out of your head. That's really what you need to do. Uh-huh. Get out of your head and do something that you've got to concentrate on, and that relieves you of that. Now you think about walking the dog. So why do you walk the dog? Because it's exercise.
You can switch off.
The dog's grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might get to see a sunrise.
Yes, yeah.
You socialise.
Yeah.
You dodge kangaroos jumping past you. And you are actually being mindful in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're being active, and everybody does something.
Yeah.
So, and even if you say you broke your leg and you couldn't walk your dog, you still need to try and find something that will give you the same sensation and the same feelings. So when you talk about your own personal things I do to keep me well, everybody's got something. And if they don't, then that's when I think people are in trouble, and when they need to, when they're really, really depressed and can't get out of bed, that's when it's time to get additional help in.
I already know we're going to be talking to you a lot more. But people can reach out to Bridges Health and Community Care because you have offices throughout the Wide Bay and the Burnett and Central Queensland. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'll look forward to catching up with you again soon because I know that there's so much more that you can share with us.
There's a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you or someone you know needs support, it's important to seek help and speak to a GP or another health professional. Later in the show, the fun game, Fast Gaining the Advantage in Local Sport. After the break, why doing business for good is good for business and better for the community. You're watching Melissa's People. The world has changed and so has business. In an age where people want to work for, buy from and connect with organisations that have a positive impact in their community, the concept of business for good is steadily gaining momentum. As the focus shifts from not only making a profit but making a difference, we're seeing social enterprises move beyond mere side projects and grow into sustainable business ventures, tackling everything from eco-friendly issues to housing, animal welfare and community service, and playing more prominent roles in providing employment and training opportunities. One local organisation that's leading the charge for business for good in Bundaberg is Impact Community Services, and their Managing Director Tanya O'Shea is here to tell us all about it. I'm so glad you could join us.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here, so thank you for the invitation.
Pleasure. Doing business for good isn't just about making a profit and supporting a good cause, is it?
It isn't. It's really, it's about identifying where there's pain points within the community, and it's being very clear, I guess, about where we can make a real difference from a social perspective. In saying that there is no mission without a margin, unfortunately.
Yes.
So it's always looking at the commercial viability of the idea, but we go through a process of really testing and trying and validating different concepts to see what's going to work. But primarily it's about creating change for people. So how can we provide an impact on their lives in some way, a positive impact that improves their life?
Because everything that Impact does is about reconnecting people with the community and a sense of purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, so our vision is about improving lives. So there are a range of different ways that we can achieve that. So we run all of our programs, so we're primarily government funded for a lot of the work we do outside of our social enterprises, but we run these pillars called Live, Grow and Prosper.
Nice.
So we provide support programs under Live, so that's about where people can, if they need to, reset. There might be some mental health, there might be some different things that they would like to work on in their lives. So we can support them to be able to stabilise circumstances within those programs. Then we've got our Grow pillar, and that is our registered training organisation. So we find people are upskilling in that area.
Great.
And then we've got Prosper. So Prosper is all about employment. So we have employment programs, but we've also got our social enterprises. So we've got a material recovery facility that we run in partnership with Bundaberg Regional Council. And we also created our New Image laundry model that was born in 2014 from a pain point that we identified ourselves.
So that was one of your babies, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And knowing nothing about laundry, particularly how to build a commercial laundry.
I know about laundry, but it's nothing good.
No, and it's not something, that's exactly right. Apart from the little basket in the corner, you know, to processing, you know, tons and tons of product. So there was a huge learning curve, and I guess we tested and trialled a few different things back in 2014 because we weren't quite sure what was going to land. And that's what creating enterprise and business is all about.
So with those social enterprises, and both those are obviously highly successful, what difference does that make to the people that you've trained, you've upskilled, who are working within those businesses?
Yeah, I think one of the really important things is we never saw it as the end result for someone. It was always about how we could support them to navigate a pathway into potential open employment outside of Impact. So we were like always the little incubator. So how could we provide employment opportunities for people in the community that potentially didn't get the same opportunities as other people. So they might have wanted to build some work skills, you know, all of those work preparation things that some of us take for granted, like turning up on time and things like that. So they get the work preparation in place, we support them, and it might be that there might be some things that they want to work on around their mental health, their physical health, so we can support them with that. It might be that they need some housing, so we really try and stabilise circumstances. And when they're ready, they can actually then make the jump outside of Impact, outside of New Image Laundry, into open employment. What we see is people are buying cars, they're buying houses, they're living an independent life that is free of welfare. That's the super cool stuff. That's why we do what we do.
And getting to know themselves better and building confidence in the process.
And friendships. When we think about our material recovery facilities, so people are our people with a disability, so we have 27 workers with a disability out there. Council picks up the yellow top bins and they're working through and picking through all of the recycled product. Now it can be smelly, it can be monotonous, but they love it because that's where their friends are. That's their social connection, that's their real purpose.
Wonderful. Well, in April this year, you're going to be running your Emerge program. So that's kind of like paying it forward, isn't it? With showing other budding social entrepreneurs how they can breathe life into this dream or concept that they've got.
Oh, 100%. It is all about how can we create more social enterprises within the community. What we know is people have ideas. They have amazing ideas and they're just not sure how to get started. So a program like Emerge actually encourages them to just lean into what that idea might look like, and we provide a process for them to start testing and trialling and ideating and validating to see if their idea has got legs. Because we want to just check that it is a pain point for someone. When we know it's a pain point, we know that we've got a gem of an idea that we can then take forward.
Well, I do hope that you'll join me again on Melissa's People when the time comes closer, so that we can tell people all about how they can register for the program.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. We're super excited.
Lovely to have your company this morning. Thanks very much, Tanya.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay. When it comes to boating safety, excuses don't float. Good practices and the right gear can be the difference between a fun time on the water and an absolute disaster. Just ask the volunteers who save lives at sea. That's coming up next on Melissa's People. It's good to have your company. We Aussies love getting out on the water, and with almost 300,000 recreational vessels registered in Queensland, the number of on-water requests for help is high, and so too is the ongoing challenge to keep the boating public safe and informed. For more than 50 years, highly trained volunteer marine rescue squadrons like those in Bundaberg and Hervey Bay have worked tirelessly to cover everything from breakdowns to search and rescue missions, medivacs and more, preventing countless tragedies along the way. Yet it's estimated as few as 10% of boats log on with VMR before heading out. Graham Kingston is State President of Marine Rescue Queensland and knows firsthand how different the outcomes can be when boat owners are well prepared, well equipped and do the right thing. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Melissa.
What are the biggest mistakes that Marine Rescue sees boat owners make when they head out on the water?
It's probably lack of planning, Melissa, particularly with the out of fuel ones. We believe that's totally preventable. And so we have the 1/3 rule, 1/3 going out, 1/3 coming home and 1/3 for the unexpected. If the weather changes, that sort of thing. So it's a fairly simple calculation and, you know, you shouldn't have, our dad took a bit more out of the Toyota than we thought, that sort of thing. But so that, having a good maintenance schedule, of course Murphy does put his hand up occasionally and we do get genuine breakdowns, but sort of certainly planning is a very important part of it.
I'm amazed when I read statistics like only say 10% of boat owners who bothered to actually radio in and let you know that A, that they're going out, B, where they're going to be going and when they think they're likely to be due back.
Yes, well, I mean, that's a free log-on service and it's the first part of the marine safety umbrella. And of course, if you happen to lose communications out there, it does happen with electrical failures. Where should we start looking? Mum might ring up, Dad's not home. where should we start looking? He may have told, hopefully he would have told
Right.
at home where he is going, but again, without a GPS position, it's sort of a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack at times.
Do you think boat owners become a bit complacent these days because we've got so many devices, including mobile phones, that they rely on, and they think, oh, I'll be okay, I don't need all of the other stuff?
Well, certainly we've seen with the trend to four-stroke outboards, there's been a greater increase in reliability there, and of course, yes, with GPS and so on, but you realise a mobile phone is only good for about 15 to 16 miles to sea. So if you're out of mobile range, maybe you could get a message out, but VHF marine radio is the way to go.
Right. So what are if you had to say to a boat owner, these are the must-haves, like the bare minimum, you need to have these things on your boat?
Well, there are mandatory safety requirements, particularly if you're going offshore into open waters, an EPIRB, flares, V-sheet, that sort of stuff. So that's the life jackets, of course. But then, of course, there's the planning bit, extra things like enough fuel, enough water. Make sure you've got the requisite number of people on board. Don't overload your boat. So having the requisite safety equipment and also making sure that you regularly maintain the vessel.
Right. There are fines, aren't there, if people don't have the right equipment?
Oh, certainly. I mean, an EPIRB has an expiry date in terms of it should. The other thing about EPIRBs is you should register them. If it's not registered, again, AMSA don't tell us who it is and where they go. Right. If it's registered, they can phone home and see, is it a real one or is it accidental activation? So again, as you say, flares, they have an expiry date, so it's pretty important to look on the flare for the expiry date as well. So they're the sort of flares, EPIRB and life jackets are really the basic mandatory stuff.
Well, I know from first-hand experience that you guys in VMR are some of the unsung heroes in our regional communities with the work that you do, and especially given the growing number of boat owners and the number of activations that there are. And boat owners, probably one of the simplest things they could do is join VMR, isn't it?
Well, certainly. I mean, if they join VMR, I mean, we have to recover our costs. And so there's a big economic advantage in being a member of VMR because we do provide a service to our members. So that's the big advantage. But of course, being a member of VMR may be also a little bit more attuned to what is required, particularly the log on, log off. Now that's a free service, but sort of membership we do encourage.
Right.
And of course, also we're looking for more active members as well.
Yes, because I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? 50 years of service to communities where basically some squadrons have started with nothing, a group of volunteers, sometimes operating radios in their own home to begin with and finding creative ways to fundraise.
Exactly.
It's a phenomenal effort.
It is. I mean, this started from very small. It started with a self-help exercise. I remember going to sea with my brothers with the Blue Water Fishing Club. That was a self-help exercise. And very soon after that, Marine Rescue, Air Sea Rescue Bundaberg was stood up. So it's grown from there, 1972 to 2022, 50 years. Yeah.
Right. So if a boatie isn't a VMR member and they want to take advantage of this amazing service, what should they be doing?
They should be a member. But of course, if there is an incident, we will respond. And about 5% of our business is actual search and rescue and distress. The rest is waterside assist. Right. And we will do that because that sort of assistance prevents escalation to distress. And that's a very important thing. So the witching hour, we say, is 4:30 to 6 o'clock in the evening. Right. And of course it gets dark after that, and if the wind changes, it can turn into a very nasty situation. We had one recently where a couple were out on a vessel. Their radio was broken, and eventually they spent the night in an open vessel in rain and cold conditions. So it was very, very difficult for them. So log on, log off.
Yeah, and they can pop down to their local VMR base to sign up.
Absolutely. The local VMR base here in Bundaberg, Tackle World, have membership forms, and also they can join online. Right.
And they can also consider maybe volunteering and joining an incredible group of people.
Absolutely. It's a very rewarding experience, particularly what I found when I joined. basically joined to get more experience in boating, but found that I loved it and sort of making that commitment to the community. And it's a very rewarding experience to see me back on the dock. How relieved they are, particularly if relatives are there when you bring the boat in. So active boat crew is one opportunity. We provide a 12-hour, 365-day of the year radio service, so that's another opportunity for folk that don't want to be so active in the boats. Then, of course, so far we've had to basically self-support. We were only getting about 15% of our operating costs from the government, so we needed that community support. And certainly here in Bundaberg, it's been wonderful.
Right.
We've had very successful fishing classics over 15 years, and that's been the mainstay of our funding operation.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Graham.
Thanks, Melissa.
Great advice there, Graham Kingston, State President of Marine Rescue Queensland. Stay with us as we go to the break. When we return, whether you're scoring aces or getting pickled, playing pickleball is guaranteed to be a good time. It's been described as the love child of tennis, ping pong and badminton, and there's no denying that the game with a strange name is rapidly winning over athletes and weekend warriors alike. If you're bored with the bike, tired of the treadmill, or just looking for a sport that serves up a fun new experience, there's a reason that pickleball appeals to all ages and fitness levels and could be just what you're looking for. Well, actually, there's quite a few reasons. Pickleball mania has swept the nation and is now in full swing across the Wide Bay, thanks to the enthusiasm and efforts of my next guests. What exactly is pickleball and why is it so popular? I'll let two very active members of Bundy Power Pickleballers, Barry Franklin and Jeff Stroob, explain. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
So, where did pickleball originate?
It started in America. It's about 50 years old, which makes it a fairly mature sport when you think about it. And it was on a tennis court, a couple of guys, wet day. They couldn't play tennis, so they grabbed a few odd balls and they had. One was a wiffle ball. That's different, but it's a type of ball that's used with holes in it.
Right.
And took the kids out, and the rest is history.
Right. See, I reckon, to me, half the fun is just saying the name, pickleball. And I've heard there's varying stories about how the actual name for it came about.
True.
I like the one about the dog.
I like the one about the dog too.
We
I got
go
no
with
idea. I got no idea if it's real
Yeah,
or not.
yeah.
But the dog's name was Pickle, and he kept stealing the ball, so they called it Pickle's Ball, and Pickleball came from there.
Right.
But look, as a name, it's fantastic in that everybody said, "What's that?" If I'd call the sport white or black, they'd say, "Don't know. Pickleball, get you in."
Absolutely. So, Barry, it's referred to as a sport for everyone, an all age, all family sport.
Yep.
Why is it so hugely popular?
I think because you can learn it in one session, like tennis, squash, golf. The skills you need to play those games take a year to play. And then when you do learn them, you don't want to be just playing, you want to play with people of your standard. But with pickleball, like we're going to get you down there, Melissa. You say you've got no hand-eye coordination skills. You'll be playing it after one session, and you'll be able to play with better players, all on the same court, all ages. We've got a nearly 90-year-old lady playing.
Wow.
Yeah, she loves it. She'd be sitting home doing nothing if she wasn't playing pickleball. It's about community too. Like we got 4 or 5-year-old little kids playing. We've got a few, like Jeff said, a few elite players that are going to be really good at it. But yeah, basically it's a smaller court, so it's not as strenuous. You don't have to run as far as tennis court or squash. You're playing doubles mainly, so you can reach from there to there like ping pong, and your partner covers the other. And we're like this close together as we are here. This is about how close you are on the court. So when there's laughter or there's cheering, everyone feels that experience, and the crowd sits very close to you as well. So it's a great experience.
If they sit too close to me, they'll get injured, I can tell you that now.
Well, I was going to say the biggest complaint in America, now you'd think it would be maybe the noise of the bat on the ball. It's the laughter
Yeah.
that comes, and neighbours are going, there's too much laughter coming out of that court.
Oh, the fun police
The
come
fun
out,
police
right?
come
yeah,
out.
yeah,
And I'll tell you what, it is. I played a lot of tennis in my day. Tennis is a great sport, but you're a long way away. This one, you're sort of very close,
Yeah.
and the jokes seem to resonate a little bit better when you're that close.
yeah. I'd just like to touch on the fact that you were instrumental in bringing pickleball to Bundaberg, weren't you? Tell us about that.
Well, I probably came across the sport about 6 years ago, and like everybody else, I was curious about the name and just recognised that it was going to be a sport for all ages, and that really appealed. I've been big on trying to get the people of Bundaberg involved in sport, and this is a perfect venue for that.
Yeah. You've recently introduced it into Woodgate, and they play in Hervey Bay as well, don't they?
That's correct. Actually, it's pretty popular all through the state. Bundaberg's got a real advantage though, because the tennis club decided to sort of come on board, and I know at different parts of the world those two sports don't get on. They do in Bundaberg.
Yeah.
And they've given up one of their tennis courts. So we actually have one of the best facilities in Queensland. And I've got to put a plug in. We chose the colours.
Yeah.
That is the red or the terracotta of Bundaberg soil with the blue of the ocean smack in the middle. So when you show some footage, people will see that.
Nice stuff. I was fascinated when I read about the game. It has a language all of its own, doesn't it? Like dinks, falafels, a volley llama. How hard is it to learn to speak pickleball?
No, not hard. Not hard at all.
the kitchen.
Kitchen,
You can't go in the
yeah.
kitchen. And a lot of wives come there and say, "Oh, I'm not going in the kitchen anymore." So that's good. Or husbands get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
So there's a line before the net. It's about 10 foot, but
7 foot.
7 foot in front of the net, and stops people running up to the net and just smashing and finishing the volley off.
Doing a Roger Federer.
Yes.
Basically,
right.
you can volley behind the line, and because you have to volley behind the line, you can't really smash it. You just got to pop it back over, and it allows more rallies going, sort of thing.
How do people go about joining up to play pickleball?
Interestingly, that's a good question, and we're ready. We've been careful not to overpromise and underdeliver, but now we've got 5 courts built, and we'll finish them off in the next 2 weeks, and that's with the proper fencing. So we've got a comfortable capacity of about 400 on those 5 courts. That's if we play every day of the week, which people are doing at the moment.
Okay.
On one court we've got over 120 people play.
Wow.
They have
on
to
one
rotate.
court.
It's incredible. Because they refer to it as an open game, don't they? That people can just sort of come in and...
Well,
Different nights. Some have private groups. If they just want to keep with their family groups, they can have court time. But yeah, we're going to lead to where if you turn up on Monday night, we got 20 people here. Let's have a round robin, and
we've got great
eventually
lights.
we'll probably have more serious comp for the ones who want to do that. But I find you scare people away when you start talking competition. A lot of them say, "Oh, I don't want to play."
Just want to do it for the fun.
And we've got to do that. We've got to cater for everybody, and we will be.
Fantastic.
Including you, Melissa, when you come down from the crew.
Jeff, Barry, thank you very much for joining me
our
on Melissa's
pleasure.
People today. And yeah, who knows? I may even surprise myself and give it a bash.
Yes, we'll get you down there. But you do go to Tennis Bundaberg, is where if you want to.
Tennis Bundaberg.
Yeah, Tennis
All
Bundaberg.
right.
Dryden Park.
Dryden
Awesome.
Park, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure we'll be catching up again in the not too distant future, maybe on the pickleball court. Well, that's it for this week's show. We've got plenty of good news and some interesting guests lined up for you next week on Melissa's People, including a look at cybercrime, the growing threat to individual privacy and business security, some surprising things to watch out for, and how to avoid being their next victim. I'll look forward to your company then. In the meantime, you relax and enjoy some of the other great shows right here on Wide Bay ITV. See you soon.